Hey everyone, Ryan McMillan, and I have some questions to ask because I'm curious, and I also have some thoughts. And so let me express those first. Gun culture and leadership. We're a part of a gun culture that I think is very close knit, and we have a lot of strong bonds with one another. Yet I think we end up getting stuck within our own culture itself. I think we have a hard time expanding out into other cultures. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me if I am. But I think in general, I'm sure there's individuals who differ, but in general, I think it's part of our personality too. I think a lot of us are blue collar, hardworking, farm boys, military guys who are used to getting punched around and beaten up and just taking it and kind of moving on and not really, the type to go complain to people or go get on social media and complain about it. Well, I wonder if in today's day and age that's become a detriment to us. I wonder about these other cultural groups, the gay community, the black community. There's no leadership there, yet they somehow figure out how to make progress. And I wonder about the gun community, the leadership in the gun community. We don't really have any leaders either. So it's an interesting phenomenon what's going on. If you take the black community in the 1960s, they had a clear leader in Martin Luther King, and they made a lot of progress in the 1960s. Yet a lot of the groups nowadays that we see pop up have no leadership. I don't think that's a good thing, but you do see specifically communities like the LGBTQ community who has made real progress over the last 20 years with no real leader, no real clear-cut leader. So I'm really curious about this. How does the gun community get its values across to other people? How do we kind of stop the fighting and show people that we're just humans and we have the same concerns and the same beliefs and love the same things, and we're just like everybody else? Part of it, again, I think, is we have to, as a community, we have to be the better people. We can't just, once we get kind of this artillery of hate come towards us, we can't just retaliate. We need to be better. I think we need to extend a hand and maybe a bar stool with a beer and say, hey, I hear you. I want to listen to you. And in that way, the retaliation is they listen back. That's a hard thing to do, I get it. But I'm just wondering, I just wonder about it because there's a lot going on in our culture today, and not just gun culture, but in entire America and really all over the world. I think a lot of things are backwards. Leadership, the lack of leadership is backwards. And I think there is something to say about us as individuals in the gun culture that we need to start telling our stories better. We need to start humanizing ourselves better. And the question is, how do we do that? The question is, how do we get the word out? How do we reach out to people who don't agree with us, whether it's politically about certain issues, and say, hey, I'm at least willing to listen. I'm not a bad person. I don't carry my gun around hoping for violence. I do it because I think that it's necessary, first and foremost, to ensure that the government keeps in check. And secondly, to protect my family. And third, because it's fun, right? I mean, come on, it's fun. And so I think when we sit down as humans to people that we don't agree with and don't agree with us, we have a lot better chance of getting somewhere. So I want to know what you guys think about this topic in general. Do we just keep hunkering down and once the artillery starts coming in, do we keep lobbing it back? Am I missing something? Are we do we actually do this well? And I'm not saying it. Do we reach across, to other people who don't believe the way we do, and communicate with them? And I just don't see that. I just want to know from you guys, because I really like to get my finger on the pulse here. So let me know what you think.